I've learned, too, that sometimes the things you'd most like to do something about, you really have difficulty unless the international community really mobilizes. David, one of the real regrets I've had is that we haven't been able to do something about Sudan. I mean, we've tried to ameliorate the humanitarian...
Genocide in Darfur.
Exactly. The horrible lives that the people of Darfur are living, the horrible tragedy that is unfolding there. Now, it's true, we've been able to do a lot about the humanitarian situation. We've even been able to support getting some peacekeepers onto the ground, and where there are peacekeepers, there's less violence. But we could have done so much more.
Why didn't we act unilaterally?
Well, because acting unilaterally in an Arab country or in a Muslim country that is that complex, that far away, really did not seem to be an option. The president considered it. He thought about it. He thought about what we could do unilaterally. But in fact, instead, we've tried to mobilize the international community and international opinion. And frankly, given that just a couple of years ago at the UN, the leaders of the world stood up and said, we have a responsibility to protect if a government will not protect its own people. And then we've had trouble getting anybody to do anything about it. The United States has, by the way, imposed unilateral sanctions in Sudan. We have been the country that's been the most active in resisting calls to interfere with the International Criminal Court investigation of the leadership there, despite the fact that we're not members of the International Criminal Court. So I think we've done a lot unilaterally, but we could have done a lot more if the international community were better mobilized.
Isn't it amazing, the last 16 years of American leadership, two presidents, two big regrets stand out, Rwanda and Darfur, the failure to prevent and protect innocent people from genocide.
Yes, although I will say that we've also been engaged in activities that have protected innocent people. Look at Saddam Hussein's record of really genocide inside of Iraq, what he did to Shia populations, to Kurdish populations, actually using weapons of mass destruction. Look at what the Taliban did to populations in Afghanistan. And so in those circumstances where the marriage of our values and our security interests has put us forward in a more active military way, we have tried to protect innocent people. But yes, it's really not a very good sign for the international community, and it does not reflect well on the Security Council.
And that all of this happened on the continent of Africa.
Well, and that it all happened on the continent of Africa. I was just at the UN last week. We talked about Zimbabwe. This is another circumstance in which the international community, most of it, including, by the way, several African states, Botswana, the leadership of Kenya, and others, are saying that the regime of Robert Mugabe has got to go. You have a cholera epidemic there. You have humanitarian disaster in terms of food. You have the goons of the Mugabe regime going around and detaining people and frightening people, terrorizing people. Again, the international community in that circumstance needs to act.